Americans need to understand Iran's threat is not about Israel. It's about America. President Trump is just that. He's President Trump. He is not President Chump. He will take action when he needs to, and when he does, it will not be mild.
To take out the Iranian leadership. He knows, as Rubio knows, as Vance knows, that as soon as Trump and the Republicans leave office, any deal they do with the Iranians will be forgotten and extinguished by the Iranians. They don't fear Kamala Harris. They don't fear Gavin Newsom.
Something is happening inside Iran's government that has never happened before. January 2026, Tehran, behind closed doors. The Central Council of the Iranian Reform Front held an emergency meeting and drafted a statement calling for the resignation of Khamenei and transmission of state control to a transitional council. Reformist leaders inside the system calling for Khamenei to step down, a transitional council, regime change from the inside, and they put it in writing. But upon learning of the statement, security forces issued heavy and blatant threats to the leaders, as well as warnings of widespread arrests, and the statement was withdrawn. Threats, mass arrests, the statement was buried. But the fact they wrote it proves the regime is fracturing from within. Officials no longer believe the system can survive, and they are demanding Khamenei leave before everything collapses. Share this everywhere, because what is happening inside Iran is not just street protests. It is officials abandoning the regime, reformist leaders drafting resignation demands, and the Islamic Republic threatening its own people to keep them quiet. Before we reveal what reformist leaders actually wrote in that statement before security forces forced them to retract it, which top officials have resigned and why their departures signal regime death, subscribe to Daily Military Talks right now. Hit that bell, because Iran's government is collapsing from the inside, and officials know it. Here is who actually resigned first. Mohammad Reza Farzin resigned as the leader of the Central Bank of Iran and was replaced with Abdel Nasser Hemati, central bank governor. Mid-crisis, that is abandonment. Your currency collapses to 1.44 million reals per dollar, and your central bank chief quits. That is not a personnel change. That is admission the economy cannot be saved. Now look at who else tried to leave. Vice President Mohammad Reza Aref tendered his resignation, but it was not accepted by President Pezeshkian. Vice President tried to resign. Pezeshkian refused. That means even the second highest official wants out. He sees where this is going, and he does not want to be in power when it ends. The president had to force him to stay. Here is what the reformist statement actually said before it got buried. Amid concerns over the collapse of the Islamic Republic and the fall of Khamenei, in addition to the increasing number of protesters killed, the statement called for Khamenei's resignation and transmission of state control to a transitional council. Transitional council. That is regime change language, not reform, not negotiation. Transfer of power, away from Khamenei, away from the supreme leader system. These are reformists, people inside the government, and they want Khamenei gone. Think about what happened next. Security forces issued heavy and blatant threats to the leaders of the alliance, as well as warnings of widespread arrests. Heavy threats, blatant, widespread arrests. The IRGC told reformist leaders, "We will arrest all of you if this statement goes public." And the reformists backed down. But backing down does not erase what they wrote. It proves they believe the system is finished, and they wanted Khamenei to know it. Now look at what protests started as and what they became. December 28, 2025. Protests erupted, initially sparked by economic grievances after the rial fell to a record low. Economic protests, currency collapse. The rial fell to 1.44 million to the dollar before recovering slightly to 1.37 million. $1. 1.44 million rials. Worthless. Demonstrations spread rapidly and became open demands for regime change. Regime change, not better wages. End of the Islamic Republic. Here is what happened on January 8th that changed everything. The government launched a brutal crackdown, and between 30,000 and 36,500 protesters were killed during January 8-9. 30,000 killed, 2 days. This is a number unseen for deaths by gunfire since the Nazis' Babi Yar massacre in September 1941. 30,000 dead, 48 hours, comparable only to Nazi Germany. That massacre is what triggered the reformist statement. Officials watched the IRGC kill 30,000 people and decided Khamenei has to go. Think about what this means. Sources close to Iran's Supreme National Security Council report the killing was carried out on the direct order of Khamenei. Khamenei ordered it, personally. The massacre was not rogue units, not local commanders. Supreme Leader Directive, kill 30,000 protesters in 2 days. And after that order, reformist leaders inside the government drafted a statement demanding he resign. That is mutiny. Here is what German Chancellor Friedrich Merz said after the massacre. Merz stated, "We are now witnessing the final days and weeks of this regime," and argued, if a regime can only stay in power through violence, then it is effectively finished. Final days and weeks. Germany's Chancellor, declaring the Islamic Republic is dead. Berlin has intelligence, and Merz knows what it says. The regime is finished. Now look at what happened with foreign militias. The Iranian government imported 800 members of foreign militias to quell protests. 800 foreigners to kill Iranians. The presence of Iraqi Popular Mobilization Forces, Lebanese Hezbollah Pakistani, Liwa Zainabiyun, and Afghan Liwa Fatemiyun was reported. Iraq, Lebanon, Pakistan, Afghanistan. On January 6th, approximately 800 members, including Kataib Hezbollah, were sent to Iran, shipped in. They were transported through border crossings officially under cover of pilgrimage while gathered at a base in Avaz before being dispatched to suppress protests. Fake pilgrimage. Real massacre. Iran cannot trust its own security forces, so it imported killers. Here is what that proves about internal loyalty. Iran has the IRGC, the Basiji, regular police, millions of security personnel, and they imported 800 foreign fighters. Why? Because Iranian security forces are wavering. Some refuse to shoot, some defect, some leak information. The regime cannot rely on Iranians to kill Iranians anymore, so they brought Arabs and Afghans and Pakistanis to do it. Think about what Trump said on day 6. Trump warned that if killing continued, U.S. forces will come to their rescue. Will rescue, not might. Will. This is the fastest and most explicit reaction by an American president to unrest in Iran in 45 years, 6 days. Trump threatened military intervention, 2 carriers offshore, and reformist leaders inside Iran know he means it. That is why they drafted the Khamenei resignation statement. They see American carriers, they see massacres, and they want Khamenei out before Trump strikes. Here is what the EU did. On January 29th, the EU designated the IRGC as a terrorist group as a result of violent repression. Terrorist designation. The entire IRGC. Europe just declared Iran's military a terror organization. That means asset freezes, travel bans, criminal prosecution, and it happened because of what reformist leaders reported from inside. The massacres, the foreign militias, the orders from Khamenei. Now look at what President Pezeshkian did on February 11th. Pezeshkian apologized to the nation for the crackdown. Apology after 30,000 dead. That is not remorse. That is fracture. The president apologizes. The supreme leader stays silent. That split is everything. Pezeshkian knows the massacre was wrong. Khamenei ordered it anyway. And now reformist leaders are writing statements demanding Khamenei resign. The government is splitting. Here's what officials told Khamenei that never got reported. Fear no longer works. That is what regime insiders are saying. For 47 years, the Islamic Republic ruled through fear. Intimidation, violence, arrests, and it worked. Until now, Iranians watched 30,000 people get killed and kept protesting. Fear broke. And when fear breaks, the only tool left is genocide. Kill everyone or lose power. Think about what the reformist statement means in that context. The statement called for transmission of state control to a transitional council. Transitional council. Not new elections under the current system. Complete transfer of power, dissolution of supreme leader authority. That is what officials inside the government are demanding, and security forces had to threaten mass arrests to stop it from going public. Here is what workers did during protests. Workers and employees of the Central Fruit and Vegetable Market in Tehran stopped working and joined the uprising by stopping the distribution cycle. Food distribution stopped, not blocked. Workers walked out. Police used tear gas to disperse them. Tehran's food supply depends on that market, and the workers shut it down. That is what collapse looks like. Not just protests. Infrastructure failing because workers refuse to participate. Now look at what Khamenei and Pezeshkian both admitted. For the first time, Supreme Leader Khamenei and President Pezeshkian publicly acknowledged responsibility for Iran's economic situation cannot be placed solely on sanctions. Cannot blame sanctions alone. Governance failure admission. From the Supreme Leader, that has never happened in 47 years. Khamenei admitted the system does not work, and reformists heard that admission, then drafted a statement demanding he leave. Here is what happened to inflation and wages. Official figures showed annual inflation rising to over 52%. 52%. Pezeshkian proposed a budget increasing security spending by 150%, while offering wage increases amounting to only 2/5 of the inflation rate. Security up 150%. Wages up 40% of inflation. Real wages collapsed 12% while surveillance budgets exploded. That is what reformist leaders saw, and that is why they want Khamenei out. Think about what analysis from Hudson Institute concluded. The Islamic Republic may suppress protests but will not emerge from 2026 with authority cohesion or capacity preserved. 2026 is the year. The regime enters 2026 weaker than at any time since its founding. Weakest ever. Officials inside know this. That is why central bank governor resigned. Vice president tried to resign. Reformists drafted Khamenei resignation demands. Here is what makes this crisis different. Unlike earlier cycles, current unrest is embedded in sustained economic degradation rather than episodic mobilization. Permanent crisis, not temporary shock. Repression can suppress protest, but cannot substitute for economic viability indefinitely. You can kill protesters. You cannot create prosperity. And reformist leaders understand that. The economy is destroyed. Killing 30,000 people did not fix it. Nothing will. Now look at what happened to Iran's regional power. Israel dismantled Iran's regional strategy, destroying Hamas, degrading Hezbollah, collapsing Syria, and the fall of Assad. Every proxy gone. The June 2025 war struck Iran, destroying air defenses, missile forces, and nuclear infrastructure. America bombed Fordo, Natanz, Isfahan. Iran's deterrence evaporated, and reformist leaders see Iran surrounded, weak, isolated. That is why they want Khamenei to step down before Trump strikes. Here is what protesters chant that terrifies the regime. Crowds shout anti-government slogans and express support for the Shah's return. Crown Prince Reza Pahlavi, monarchy restoration, 47 years after the revolution. Pahlavi declared February 14th as a global day of action with rallies in Los Angeles, Toronto, and Munich. Over 250,000 attended Munich, while Toronto and Los Angeles each drew 350,000. 1 million Iranians. 3 cities, one day, demanding monarchy. And reformist leaders inside Iran hear those chants. They see the alternative, and some are considering it. Think about what the resignation statement means strategically. Reformist leaders know Trump threatened intervention. They know carriers are offshore. They know Germany says regime is finished. They know the economy cannot recover. They know 30,000 dead did not stop protests. So they drafted a statement giving Khamenei an exit. Resign. Transfer power to transitional council, and maybe avoid American bombs. Security forces buried the statement. But the logic remains. Officials inside want Khamenei gone. Here is what UN snapback sanctions did. September 2025. Every sanction from before the nuclear deal. All reimposed. Constraining access to finance, insurance, and energy markets. Iran is economically strangled. No banking, no insurance, no oil sales. And reformist leaders see no way out under current leadership. That is why they want regime change from inside, before outside forces impose it. One thing is absolutely certain. Reformist leaders drafted a statement demanding Khamenei's resignation and transfer to a transitional council before security forces threatened mass arrests. Central bank governor resigned. Vice president tried to resign. 30,000 protesters were killed January 8-9 on Khamenei's direct order. Iran imported 800 foreign militiamen because it cannot trust its own forces. German chancellor declared the regime is in final days. Trump warned of intervention. Officials tell Khamenei, fear no longer works. So here is what we are watching. If more officials resign, then fracture accelerates. If the statement leaks, then Khamenei faces open mutiny. Either reformists force him out or Trump removes him. The regime is imploding from within. Stay tuned.